Simon, thank you for the welcome to Llanarthny, and it's great to say it's a beautiful day once again here. Tell me a little bit about Wright's Food Emporium.
So we've been here 10 years almost. This is an old coaching inn. It was built in 1831. It's been a place of hospitality for all that time. When we came here 10 years ago, it had been closed for 3 years. We have a history of having eating places in southwest Wales, in Carmarthenshire. When we came here, we wanted to do something a little bit different, which was to have a place where you could eat, but also a place where you could buy food and take it away, you know, in line with the things that are important to us, which is, you know, local, sustainably produced food wherever possible.
Yeah, in terms of that locally sourced food, where does your food come from? You can see from the front of the shop there, you know, that they're well-known names from the area.
Yeah, I mean, we get most of our veg and a bit of fruit comes from Blind Camel Farm near Aberaeron. That's an extraordinary place, 45 acres. It's been going for decades now. Totally organic, incredibly productive. You know, we work with them on a seasonal basis. So if you're coming into the shop now, you will have just had the first of their strawberries, which are extraordinary.
Locally sourced food and produce is obviously stocked here. What's important about local food for you?
And for me, the important thing has always been the quality of the food. And you want food that's fresh, that's delicious, and that says something about the place that you're in, so that, you know, is produced locally if possible. I like the fact that here we're able to support local producers by retailing it as well. We've got amazing producers out there. We need more. But, you know, for me, the great pleasure is putting something on a plate for people that they can recognise as being from the local area.
And for the wider community, how important is it that food is sourced locally and probably supports the wider economy as well?
Well, I think local food is one of those things that's the answer to a lot of different questions, you know, because eating local food can have a significant impact on climate change. Definitely a sustainable local food, a significant impact on our nature and our environment and biodiversity. But also it puts money back into the local economy, which is desperately needed in rural areas. We retain value within Wales, and in this case within, you know, the county of Carmarthenshire and broader West Wales by doing that. It brings a vibrancy to our countryside that, you know, we've seen decline over the past few decades with the intensification of farming and the move towards less variety in what's produced. Because we must remember that this part of the world not so long ago produced an amazing amount of fruit and vegetables. And we can do that again, and it's anything that drives us in that direction is a good thing for me.
Have you seen an increase in demand in local produce in West Wales over recent years?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's it's been a long-term project and it's been a long time coming, but we are getting that realization of what the extra benefits are. You know, if you're buying just on price, then obviously the supermarkets are attractive in that sense. But what we have seen during and post-COVID, I think, is more of a connection between the public and where their food comes from. So that's really important. We're also seeing that sustainably produced food, which is always kind of interpreted as being naturally more expensive, is actually, relatively speaking, not as expensive as it used to be, because the price of food procured on the global market has increased. So I think that's really important as far as the public is concerned. And I think the other thing that the public will have noticed is that, you know, our global food system isn't stable. We've seen empty supermarket shelves. We've seen how conflict elsewhere in the world, the effects already of climate change can disrupt that market. So the closer we bring production to home, the more secure we are in being able to feed ourselves as a nation. In order to do that, though, we need more diversity and we need more edible horticulture, because in Wales, as you probably know, we primarily produce meat and dairy, but we produce much more of it than we need to feed the nation. So what we need to see is a much more diverse offering over a period of time from farmers, and they need the incentives in place in it to be able to do that.
Planed's Food Hubs looks to educate those about sourcing local food. Do you think people need to be educated more, to be made more aware of these topics, or you think there's a natural increase in that awareness over the recent years?
No, I mean, I think it's crucial that we educate people, that we bring the knowledge to the population. And there are a number of ways in doing that, and I think doing it through like the way that Planet are doing it, through food hubs, that's a really great initiative. It doesn't happen overnight, and there are a lot of myths out there about local food, as I say, in relation to how expensive it's perceived to be. And also there's the skills of being able to take that food and then turn it into something palatable, or which aren't that difficult, but there is an absence of sort of basic cooking skills in some of the population now, so we need to encourage that too.
Any particular trends over the last couple of years in food you've seen in particular?
I think that we've seen people slightly less consumption of meat, and I think one of the important things about that is people get to recognise, and you particularly recognise this if you're eating local food, that freshly produced vegetables that aren't long out the ground are just so delicious and don't need lots of sauces and lots of elaborate cooking. But we have to be honest with ourselves and realise that all this is in the context of a global corporate food system which is telling you to do the absolute opposite thing, which is to go into the supermarket, pull something off a shelf which will be, ultra processed food, which is not good for you from a health point of view and is definitely not doing anything for the local economy. So education is absolutely key at every level.
You mentioned that people have started moving away from meats. Is that going to accelerate, you think, because the cost of meat probably proportionally is more expensive in comparison to fruit and veg?
We're at an absolute crossroads as far as the food system is concerned, both globally and in Wales. And we're making decisions at the moment will impact on the lives of people across the nation going forward. The challenges we face are enormous. The food system is set to be the biggest cause of climate emissions in the next decade. As other things go down, the food system staying the same. So a huge impact on climate change, huge impact on nature. We know that the food system as it stands is the biggest cause of nature loss and biodiversity. We have a massive diet-related health problem in the NHS, which is escalating at an incredible pace. And we have problems in the rural economy where we're not retaining enough value and we need more economic activity. So for all those reasons, it has to change.
Do you think that maybe sharing growing spaces could help with that process, that the land is shared and used to produce?
I think there are a range of approaches that we need to take. We have some amazing growers already out there. We need to work with them to scale their businesses and use their incredible experience to grow the sector in Wales. We need government to put the right policies in place to incentivise things. And some of this is about access to land is a problem, so getting enough land to grow on for those people who are enthusiastic to do so. And I think also what we shouldn't forget is that we need to be providing individuals, families, children with the resilient skills going forward to actually be able to grow their own food and the space in which to be able to do that.
And any top tips for those who maybe are looking to tread into the water for the first time?
Well, I think it's just, that we get a lot of confusing diet advice. And I always say to people, look, start with this. Eat food, mostly vegetables, not too much. Now, if people could just move towards those things, and I realise there are time pressures, there are issues around cost, etc. But you'll find it a lot easier if you have some of those skills and some of the knowledge that you need to make the right choices. I would implore everyone to, when you do have time, do some cooking, do use local ingredients, take pride and pleasure in what you're buying and using. And that will help us all in so many ways going forward.
Simon, thank you so much for the welcome and for the chat. I'm feeling inspired now to go back to the kitchen to start cooking. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.